Okay, it's now 2 o'clock, so what we'll do, we'll start the meeting and so forth. Hopefully everyone can hear me. If you can't, you can please just put in into the chat that you can't hear me at all. But what we're going to do after all that is go over the checklist section and the audit section, arguably the most used section of your system, or something that you should actually be using the most. It's one of my favorite features, and it's such a versatile feature because it literally relates to nearly everything throughout the system. So the checklist section, obviously, checklist register in the record management section. To build a checklist, you can actually go add checklist in the right-hand side, and you would have seen people like yourself, Brad, and you would have seen that this system is actually, this section's grown quite a considerable amount over the years, where previously you had a checklist that you can only relate to a site, activity, or machine, whereas now you can actually relate it to all these kind of sections here, and these kind of sections went in there around about 8 months ago, where you can relate it to a variety of processes throughout the system, even to visitors, contractors, and clients and volunteers. So how this section works is it's probably a good idea to before building your checklist, to go to the activity register or go to the compliance register and upload activities that you want to build a checklist for, and upload compliances and code and practices relating to your industry. So say for an example, if I was a transport industry, I would be going there, I'd be uploading driver fatigue, chain of responsibility, load restraint, and all those other different kind of standards relating to that industry, because you could actually build a checklist here and relate it to that compliance. It's just a great way to show compliance straight away. You're looking at these open and close fields. They're relatively new. Around about 6 months ago, I put those inside the system. Great new feature, and I'll just highlight how they actually work. So the best thing for you to do, previously you would have related a checklist to an individual site and then built a checklist. This is where this open and closed field comes into play. Build your checklist and relate it to your global site, your site in red, and select open. That's especially if you are a multi-site and you want people at the various sites to undertake the same checklist. If you're a single site and you only want that person to undertake it at that site, well, you can just select the individual site and select close. So but we'll just let it open at the moment, and you'll see how that works. So again, relating to picking up everything inside the system, this is picking up your activity safe work method register. So if the activity that you want to build a checklist is not there, you would actually go to this register and enter that activity. So prior to building your checklist. But let's actually just do a checklist, say for an example. We'll do a daily vehicle inspection checklist. So let's select the machine. Now this is actually picking up your plant and equipment register. And let's select open for this field. And really, these two fields you would select open if you're doing any kind of checklist relating to plant and equipment and so forth. If I select the compliance, let's select chain of responsibility as the compliance. And I'll select policy, and I'll select vehicle policy, and this is picking up my policies in my policy register. And then I can actually create a checklist. So it might be, say for an example, daily vehicle inspection checklist, or we'll do it right. So let's build it correctly. And this is this checklist to be undertaken each day prior to use of the machine, for an example. So so you could relate it to all these other sections here. You might, say for an example, want to relate it to the person who's actually doing that, so you can select open next to that employee field. So and then this one here is the name of the checklist would be done here again. So and it's a good idea to actually do this one in capitals. and not so much that one in capitals. That should have been lowercase. But let's put this in capitals and make that a heading. Add. Then I can actually say check guard. Great speller. So it's or great typist actually. So select that as a question, add more. So you can just go through here and actually check, whatever it may be that you want them to check, make that a question. But you can also get them to actually do one for a text box. So you're looking at, you can build as many as you wish there, but remembering when you are building a checklist item, you want the answer to be yes if everything's okay, and no if not, it's not okay, because it'll bring up the action box. Review date for continual improvement. Try to keep it in the November months, because you're looking at, that's when we send the email out to everybody, and the person responsible, instead of sending an email alert for this review, this will automatically go into my to-do list. So therefore, instead of getting an email to say, hey, this needs to be, checklist needs to be done, and you might get hundreds and hundreds of emails, now it's just going to put it in your to-do list to do. This is a new feature here. You can make this public. What does that mean? Well, I'll show you in a sec, but basically this system will automatically create a QR code. When you scan that QR code, if I make it public, that means anybody can scan that QR code or bring it up on their phone, not even logged into the system. So then you're looking at, do you want the employee list on it? Well, you would select yes if you're a section where only your employees are going to do this. You would select no if you're in the general public where other people might use this. So let's select yes, because it's just going to be our employees. And yes, we want a signature box, and select add. So basically what that's done is, we've built that kind of checklist there. And if I actually select view, it's automatically created that QR code. The reason why I open these up, see, I can actually change that for that site or change that vehicle. So it allows you to change the flexibility of this checklist, and it will save it in the log of all these items here. So it's a great idea for you to actually build a, maybe a pre-start checklist of your items, and to automatically make it save in that items log. But it's created this QR code. Now with this feature here, I can actually go print QR code. And what that has done, it's automatically put the name of the checklist up here on this printable item, that QR code. If you scanned that QR code with a QR reader, it would actually bring up the checklist on your phone, and you're not even logged into the system. It even puts your company logo here. If you're not happy with your the kind of your logo looks a little bit squashy or squeezed, please put it in as a ticket, and I'll clean it up for you. But you would print these out and you would stick them on all your different machines. So now they can actually do a daily inspection checklist of each machine that you're doing. And you made it public. All your employee has to do is download a QR code reader, not scanner, QR code reader on their phone, and they're free, and basically scan that QR code. They can do that checklist, and when they do that checklist, it will automatically go into the system's log. So now you do not even have to be logged into the system. So don't tell me the internet's dropped out here. Just take that off there. So it's a good idea for you to do is you build the checklist, then print that QR code. Now if I actually select view again, and we'll go down to this checklist that I've completed before, and if I go show log, it keeps a log of every single time that checklist has been done. And not only that, if I go back, another feature which is a great feature, which is a new feature, I can actually go publish feature, publish register, download CSV file, date range, and export it to see all the checklists that's been done that week, that month, that day. You can even print it, actually print out all the checklists that's been done that day. So you can filter that. It's a great way for transport or something like that to have to show fit for duty or something like that, checklists. and you can actually print it out that all your employees did it that day. So the checklist feature is a really good feature. It's something that you should be using all the time, but it is a great idea that you actually put all your data in all the other sections of these categories prior to actually building a checklist. Now, when you're actually printing out, you might want to, that's been designed to print out an A4 that you can actually use stickers and so forth, but probably a better idea is to print them out and laminate them and then stick them on the vehicle, whatever it may be. Or you can do what we did with one of the clients. We actually printed it out on a nice little kind of plastic card, especially if it's going to be outdoor equipment that you're going to be using. It's got to be waterproof. So that is the checklist builder. Great feature. You should be using that all day, not just for checklist for safety. Checklist, you might want to do an orientation checklist or site risk assessments, all these different things that you should be using that checklist builder for. So let's go to this audit builder, which is a fairly relatively new feature, around about 6 months ago, but it kind of works very similar to the checklist builder. If I actually go add audit, you can enter the audit name, enter the objective, enter the section that you want it to be done, enter who's actually going to be leading this audit, and select your compliance, and that's picking up your compliance register and any special instructions, and then next. Same way that the checklist builder works, but a little bit slightly different, where you would actually select what the audit score is going to be out of. So you can actually say it's going to be out of 100 or 50 or whatever it may be, or you can actually select it by the number of elements. Yes, it's going to be, elements need to comply is 5. Actually, I'll do it 2. So it's and here you can actually build your elements. So I can make a heading, a subheading, just like any kind of audit, a question, sub-question. I can even say, for an example, make it text or subtext. Very similar to the checklist builder, but just to add it in a little bit more. The reason why the score's here, because I can actually do it out of score, and then I can actually say what ranking or rating this item is going to be scored at, if they get it correct, or if they pass that element, for an example. So you can set a review date for continual improvement, person doing that, but we'll just go finish just here. So it's inside the system. If I go evidence, if I scroll down here, it's actually created that audit here. So you can say this audit question might be, how are you complying to safety in the warehouse, Yes, I'm complying this way because I'm doing this, but this is the major feature of this section. Instead of printing out documents, you can actually relate it to items throughout your system. So you can bring up all your checklist and so forth, the inductions. So instead of printing out stuff, you're actually doing it and relating to items throughout your system. And because you've already got data in your systems, it's quite easy to do. You can upload your own evidence on top of that if you wanted to. So you can go through here and complete the audit. I'll just quickly just go through here and relate some items here to each one so you can actually see how it really works. I can sign off on that, and I can save. If I go to the, one thing, I can actually come back to this evidence because audits are quite large, so you don't want to do it all the time. So you can it keeps the prior ones that you've done. You can delete them, but you keep on adding to it. So you don't have to build your audit all in one hit, or undertake your audit all in one hit. But if I now select this findings button, what that's done, the auditor or the person to auditing can come through and say, yep, this is what they're doing for the hygiene warehouse, wherever it may be, this is their evidence, and they can select on that checklist. It automatically takes them to the checklist and the log. Or they might say, for example, select on the policy, and it takes them directly to the policy's log. So it's just a great way for you to show that compliance. The person can come here and say, yes, all good, but you need to have a policy relating to hygiene or whatever it may be. And they can actually enter their recommendations inside here, and this will go into the person's to-do list. So they can also select, say for an example here, if they're conforming, non-conforming, or it's an observation. If it was out of an element score, you can actually, basically say that, yeah, they got 2 out of 10 for that, whatever it may be, that you rated that. So the person can come through here and do that, and say that that person, yep, is conforming, non-conforming, whatever it may be that they want to do observation, and it brings up the observation. They can actually enter an observation in here and conforming, and we'll just go save audit. Saved all the data there. The person can come back at any time, but here what it's done in the report section, it's automatically developed a printable report, so you can actually see that with all your elements and your scores. So you can print out that, take it to management, and say, yep, this is what we're doing, whatever it may be that you want to do. So you can constantly upgrade that audit, whatever it may be. If you might see that you're failing element 1.1, you can actually come back here to your evidence and go to 1.1 and add to your 1.1 because you've added some more stuff or whatever it may be that you've now done it. And then the auditor can re-audit it, and they can pass that, and all of a sudden, you get your audit completed. So a lot of our companies who undertake audits, kind of process, large companies do that. A lot of companies are actually going for tenders and so forth, also do that because they can actually clearly show that they're actually compliant to a standard or code of practice. So I hope you like those 2 features. It's the checklist builder you should be definitely using on a daily basis. It's a great feature. Remembering that when you build that checklist, to print out the QR codes, go view and go print QR code, and it prints it in a frame with the exact name of the checklist that you actually created. If you need any other help selecting the help, please don't hesitate to ask, put in a ticket and so forth. But you've also got these training videos, and you'll see that this webinar will be actually uploaded into this section on page 2 in the coming days. So thanks very much for attending this webinar. Hope that helped you a little bit with the checklist feature and so forth. There is some great new features coming over in the next 6 weeks, especially relating to site and visitor management, and also this PPE register coming in, which will be a great feature, which will really save you some money. So thank you very much, and have a good day.